Hey y'all, it's Nikki. Austin's rental market moves fast, and if you're a local landlord, keeping up can be tough. Whether you're renting out a property in South Lamar or a duplex in Hyde Park, TurboTenant makes it easier. It's a free all-in-one platform to manage your listings, screen tenants, sign leases, and collect rent digitally and legally compliant in Texas. More than 800,000 landlords use it, with a 4.8-star app rated by thousands of renters and landlords. Try it free at turbotenant.com. That's turbotenant.com, your smarter way to manage rentals in Austin. I don't know about you, but I love starting off my day with eggs, sausage, and toast. I just tried Jones Dairy Farm's all-natural breakfast sausage, and it is delicious. They make premium crafted, all-natural meat, and 100% of products are made in the USA. And y'all, they have so many options: pork, chicken, turkey, or center-cut Canadian bacon. So check out their product finder on jonesdairyfarm.com to find out where to find Jones near you. Today on CityCast Austin, passenger counts are down at the airport, and there are so many deals to be found that it's being called the golden summer of cheap flights. So I've got a couple of experts on today to hear all about the best deals, the best tips, and the latest on the airport. It's Monday, July 14th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. So before we get into today's show, I've got something really exciting to share. This week, we're launching CityCast Austin Neighbors, our brand new membership program. And it's all about you, the people who care deeply about this city and want to be even more connected to it. Our neighbors will get great perks like ad-free podcast listening, weekly event roundups, and invites to special members-only gatherings with our team and other listeners. But more than that, it's about showing up for each other and building something bigger, a more connected, more compassionate Austin. And right now, in the wake of the devastating floods across Central Texas, we want to show up too. We're donating your first month's membership fees to local flood relief efforts because we want to be good neighbors to this city that we all love. If this show helps you feel more grounded in Austin, this is your chance to support it and support our neighbors at the same time. So head on over to membership.citycast.fm, sign up, join the community. That's membership.citycast.fm. We would love to have you in the neighborhood. Hello, I am here with Katie Nastro, spokesperson and travel expert at Going, and Nathan Bernier, transportation reporter for KUT News. So we're going to start off easy. What is the headline? How is summer travel going at the Austin airport this summer? Nathan, we're going to start with you. How's it going?
You know, it's busy like it is every single summer. This is the time when people like to go out and go on a summer vacation. But there's also your regular business travel and everything like that. Although I will say it is less busy than it was this time last year. Just looking at May, which is the most recent month that they came out with, the number of passengers is down 6% compared to May 2024. And there are fewer daily departures as well. I mean, the seats are there. Like the seat, they measure it with something called seat capacity. It's like the number of seats for sale on all the airplanes. You add them all up. The number of seats for sale is actually up 3% July over July, but people just aren't buying them as much. That said, I was flying through the airport just a couple weeks ago, and it was very busy there.
That's really funny. I was there mid-June, and literally I took the same trip last year, and last year it was a nightmare trying to get out the middle of June. And this year it was kind of easy peasy.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Just piggybacking off of what Nathan has said, just looking at the sort of travel sphere as a whole, airfare is down 7% year over year. That's according to the latest CPI. And that is not shocking, but it is notable because if you look at years past even further, it's actually down 25% from June of 2022 when airfare was at its absolute peak. And there had been so much sort of revenge travel. That's a term that we talk about in the industry. People looking to get out and explore because they had been bottled up basically from the pandemic. However, this year, what's notable, not just the decrease in airfare, but also the decrease or really moderation in travel numbers, not just from the Austin airport, but also just looking at nationwide. TSA numbers, 3 out of the last 6 months have actually seen less numbers versus 2024, which is pretty significant. And if you're looking around the July 4th time period, we didn't see these sort of gangbuster days that we typically saw. Yes, people traveled. There's no doubt that it was busy, but we're out of that growth spurt phase if you think about it like that.
So I'm guessing the need for escapism maybe is changing. I don't know. Like, I will be honest, for me, it's got a little bit to do with all of the crashes that have been happening. So I've been a little hesitant to fly. But I mean, do either of you think, I'm curious, what do you think the reason for this is?
I was wondering the same thing. I was going to ask Katie that. But I mean, do you know, Katie?
Yeah.
Is it even possible to tell? The one thing I'll say, because Katie's, I'm sure, knows more about this, that there is less travel, we know in Austin anyway, and I'm sure it's in other airports. There has been somewhat of a downturn in travel from Canada to the United States, or the Canada to Austin, trade war stuff.
Down about 12%, yeah.
And probably in other countries, but I don't know. What do you know, Katie?
Yeah, you're spot on. It's really what I like to say, it's a perfect storm of sort of all of these factors. It's not just one specific factor. At the margins, maybe there's a little bit more fear these days in flying, but I wouldn't put the nail on the head of that being the singular reason why we're seeing a little bit cooling in terms of travel numbers. We have seen data around people are just hesitating with booking. The deals that we've found at the end of July, well into August, from the Austin area, no joke, we found this deal not even 2 weeks ago. You could have flown from Austin to Rio for the lowest ever that we've ever found. I know the buildup is big. What was it? $388 round trip. That was for the end of summer and fall availability. That's right. Rio de Janeiro, not Reno. South America, you could have gone $388 round trip from the Austin airport, which is fantastic. That is a upward 70% off deal.
I will say that Southwest Airlines is getting a lot of my money right now because of these insane deals. This is no joke. I just talked to my sister 30 minutes ago. She called me and she was like, we're going to Puerto Rico. They have tickets for $189.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Round trip. I'm like, and I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
We're calling it the golden summer of cheap flights, and fall it's continuing. And just to go back on why we're seeing that, we're seeing the deals, but we're also seeing hesitation in booking. People aren't really sure if they want to spend the money right now. But then again, they're getting enticed by these 189 deals, 388, and they're waiting a little bit later to book. As well as, yes, like Nathan said, there's that decrease in foreign travelers to the U.S., specifically from Canada. That's really the sector that's been hit the hardest. As well as, currency changes. Some people not coming to the States because of that. Some people coming due to geopolitical tensions and just general uncertainty around what's going to happen in the next 6-7 months or, next few months, the immediate future. As well as there are actually more flights on the schedule in general than there have been in years past for the summer. And it's this sort of perfect storm. Airlines have had to actually sort of surgically trim schedules to try to right size the lack of demand because they sort of overshot for the summer. So yeah, it's resulting in a lot more empty seats, like Nathan said.
So, okay, what are your top 3 best summer flight deals in Austin right now?
Okay.
Or it could just be one. Rio is pretty amazing.
We just saw Austin to Buenos Aires. I know I'm speaking a lot of South American deals, but that's just what we've seen recently. $487, that's over 50% off. That's for late summer, so that last 2 weeks in August into September, which is a lot of people think, okay, maybe I shouldn't go down there at that time of the year just because it's not technically summer. It's sort of their spring. Incredible time to be in Buenos Aires. If you go in late October, early November, the weather starts to get better. All the jacaranda trees just bloom, and it is so spectacular. And you're not getting the tons of crowds that come from other neighboring countries because it's technically shoulder season. So
nice.
I would think twice about that one. Give it a second look.
Yeah, consider it.
Exactly.
So Now, Nathan, our airport is undergoing some pretty severe construction right now. How is the construction affecting travelers, you think?
You're definitely going to feel the effect. You're going to see construction underway. But when I flew through, it wasn't that big a deal. One of the things that's happened more recently is they've started construction on what they call it an atrium infill. And basically what they're trying to do is add about 12,000 square feet for security screening and bag check and just passenger processing by filling in that open space above baggage claim. And so it's all like boarded off now. And they've covered up the Barbara Jordan statue to avoid damaging it. I guess moving it was just too, it's very heavy. And so moving it was too logistically difficult. And so the sort of construction on that has started, and that's going to wrap up in like late 2026. The more immediate thing that's going to be happening sooner actually is Checkpoint 3 has been closed since late 2023, early 2024. That's the one at the far west end of the airport. To offset the closure of Checkpoint 3, additional lanes were open at Checkpoint, they call it Checkpoint 2 West and Checkpoint 2 East, but it's kind of like really cloistered around there. And so in 2026, they're saying first quarter, this West infill project where Checkpoint 3 was closed, it's going to reopen. And they've been working on building more than 75,000 square feet of space over 4 levels. But basically,
Wow.
they're going to be able to have up to 8 lanes of checkpoints instead of the 2 that they had before. There's also the actual first project of this giant expansion, which is going to go on until early 2030s, has completed. And that is, it's not a big one, but it's the international arrivals. So they added like 20,000 square feet of space. I think the big difference if you're traveling through into Austin internationally is you won't need to lug your bag through customs. You get to go through customs first and then go down and pick up your bag from the carousel. But the other one that you'll definitely see if you're traveling through is they're building the yellow garage. It's going to replace the red garage. The red garage is the really expensive one
Yeah.
that's closest into the airport. They're going to start pouring the first deck level, and they've got like 200 people working there. They've got like 3 cranes, which are also yellow, coincidentally. But there's construction going on. But I will say, like, I traveled through there a couple weeks ago, went to Las Vegas, and I didn't have any problems. Mind you, I was traveling out on a weekday, and it really does vary. Like, I will say, like a weekday, by that I mean middle of the week, Wednesday. It can vary depending on time of day, depending on what day of the week. The weekends tend to be busier, obviously, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
It's really interesting. It's like as Austin grows, its identity is changing into this destination. I'm just now coming around to this idea of Austin being a destination. It's still, quite honestly, a little bit weird to me. Do you think that airlines want to increase their flights in and out of Austin right now because we have become this destination? Or like, what do you think is going on?
Yeah, I think, I think for a while there, the immediate last few years, Austin was the fastest growing airport at one point in time, or the second fastest growing airport at one point in time. Still is.
It was up there.
Yeah.
And the airport staff will say, it is, they'll tweak the numbers and say, well, among mid-sized airports with, this color carpeting, that's the fastest growing still.
Right. Exactly. But I think it's a sign of the times when Delta is investing more and more in specific airports, and Austin has been sort of on their radar. Adding flights, looking to update their lounge, I'm pretty sure, which is big money. Big money.
I mean, listen, it's wild to watch in real time. I will say that. Y'all, it's time to leave Austin city limits and visit Bandera. In just a couple of hours, you can be in one of the 7 rural Texas cities selected to host the Smithsonian Institute's traveling exhibit called Crossroads: Change in Rural America. See it through July 26th at the Bandera Middle School Cafeteria. Then, on Friday nights through July 25th, make sure you check out the Riding on Faith 2025 Summer Series Rodeo, a complete Texas rodeo held at Mansfield Park. And even though it's not Austin, there's live music almost every night of the week, from big name headliners to local honky-tonk favorites. So plan your trip today. Visit bandera-cowboy-capital.com for more. That's bandera-cowboy-capital.com. Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. It's a place where multiple generations can get together under one roof to share slow beachfront mornings and cool Gulf breeze evenings. An island escape with 18 miles of shoreline to cast your line, kayak with the kids, or simply cruise the coast in a golf cart. One visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit to Austin's beach. Hey, it's your host, Nikki, popping in to tell you about our CityCast Austin Neighbors, our brand new membership program. Now, we're calling it that because we've learned that people who listen to CityCast are people who care deeply about this city and want to make it better. They're just the kind of neighbors this city needs. And it comes with some pretty sweet benefits. CityCast Austin Neighbors gain access to ad-free podcast listening and a weekly email rounding up our best picks for what to do in Austin. Plus, we're hosting neighbors-only events like happy hours, local volunteering meetups, and other events where we explore and better our city together. And you get to be part of the local conversation by shouting out local businesses or nonprofits you love on this show and in the Hey Austin newsletter. For $10 a month, you can become a CityCast Austin neighbor today by going to membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. We couldn't make this show without people like you supporting it, and we're so excited for you to be a part of it. Thanks, y'all. Speaking of travel, we're hoping that you'll travel on down to Cabana Club on Sunday for a get-together with yours truly, where we'll have a special perk for people who join our brand new membership program, CityCast Neighbors. Y'all, we are so excited about it. And not just because you get more from CityCast Austin when you join, but because we get to build real relationships with you in real life. So let's get this started this weekend. Not only can we get together in person, but we're also giving founding members a really cool tote. It's got a zipper. It's adorable. We all have 1,000 totes, but this one is different, and it's coming from us. When you become a neighbor, you'll get exclusive invites to gatherings with our team and other listeners, a chance to hang out, talk about what's happening in Austin, and connect with the people who care about this city as much as you do. We've seen how powerful it is when CityCast Austin listeners come together. It feels like instant community, like we've known each other forever. And we want to do more of that with you, especially now. Plus, because we truly believe in showing up for this city, we're donating the first month's membership fees of every single neighbor that joins us this week to local flood relief efforts, because as Austinites, we show up for our neighbors. So if you've ever wanted to get more involved in the community, meet the people behind the mic, or just share space with fellow Austinites and weirdos who are curious, passionate, and plugged in, this is your chance. So head on over to membership.citycast.fm to join CityCast Austin Neighbors today. I cannot wait to see y'all and high five you and look at how cute you are. So come hang out with us. Don't forget, that's membership.citycast.fm. So, okay, now we have a pretty severe and concerning shortage of air traffic controllers right now. How problematic are these shortages, both from the strictly travel end, but also just like the airport end? Like how problematic is this?
Just talking about ABIA specifically, or AUS as they like to call it, but everyone still calls it ABIA in Austin.
I call it AUS.
I call it ABIA.
You can tell I'm not from here.
Every time I see AUS, I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, yeah.
That is the official airport code, but like
it is.
When they started the expansion a few years ago, they were even calling media organizations in town and saying, we'd really prefer if you called it AUS, please. And we were like, we don't decide what people call it. Like, but technically, I mean, it is AUS. That is the airport code. People aren't wrong if they call it AUS. I just want to get that out there. But and I'm not like from Austin. I just kind of pick it up. And in radio, we're just trying to use the term that people say. Nonetheless, we're sticking with ABIA until further notice. But the air traffic controller situation is very serious. The FAA and the union set staffing targets for all the airports around the country. And for Austin, they said, okay, we should have, given how busy this is, 60 air traffic controllers. That's not working at one time. That's like on staff, and they rotate through their shifts. But they only have about half that. And so because they're so short-staffed, they're working 6-day work weeks, and they rotate through morning, afternoon, and overnight shifts. It's super stressful for the air traffic controllers. Sometimes they're kind of doing multiple jobs at once. They obviously take their jobs very seriously. And Austin, we looked at some of the staffing data available from the FAA publicly, and Austin was up there among the top 10 least staffed in terms of those staffing targets, least staffed nationwide. And on top of that, we're about 22 million annual passengers now, and they want to grow it to 30 million with the construction of a new concourse that will have at least 20 gates by 2030. And Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy has come out with these hiring incentives. If you're an air traffic controller, you have to retire in your mid-50s, but they're paying people to stay on. But there's not really anything there yet for the vast majority of controllers who are kind of stuck in the middle, working 6-hour work weeks. And it's just like, it's really difficult. If you have kids, or even if you don't, it's hard. But especially if you're, some of these controllers obviously have children, and you miss out on a lot of stuff. But is it like, people ask, like, how dangerous is it actually? More people die on I-35 than at Austin Bergstrom International Airport. More people die working at Austin Bergstrom International Airport than flying out of Austin Bergstrom International Airport. We have had some near misses, obviously. I think we've had about 6. A few of them have been extremely serious. There's the one that was investigated by the NTSB where I think this was in 2023. There was a FedEx jumbo cargo plane almost landed on top of a Southwest jet on the runway that was filled with passengers.
I remember that. Yeah.
And but according to the NTSB, that wasn't really the result of short staffing. Like, if you read the report, they don't blame that. There are all these other things that went wrong. It was a super foggy morning. They didn't have the technology that tells them where the airplanes are on the ground. Now they do have that. But still, I mean, it's obviously a concern, right? You want your airports to be as safe as possible. So Lloyd Doggett, our congressman, keeps writing letters, and they keep not hiring people. So
yeah,
I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah. Do you think it's affecting the travel, Katie?
Yeah, it's definitely, we see more questions around sort of air traffic control. This is an extremely, extremely difficult job, and it's extremely difficult to hire for because of the age limit. They won't hire somebody over 30 because then their basic lifespan of the job is so short.
Right.
So it's hard to find people that are willing to sort of sign up.
Wow.
But I think a lot of people think that this was a post-pandemic issue that's now being uncovered, when we've actually, in the past just over a decade, have actually seen the rate of air traffic controllers decline. It might have been exacerbated because of the pandemic, and these senior air traffic controllers, I believe they got a buyout or an incentive to sort of not keep them on staff because there weren't planes flying during that time period. There was a drastic amount of planes not flying. However, then trying to hire people back is difficult. And the training is a long time, and it's serious business. It can definitely have a big impact on how many flights are able to operate. And actually in the New York area, FAA has actually given airlines the ability to fly less flights and pull down their schedules and not lose those gates or those slots, which are coveted, which is telling.
Oh, wow.
Basically, they're giving the airlines a free pass to sort of slow it down.
Yeah.
So there's not as many flights, and it's a bit more manageable for air traffic control on staff at that moment.
You're right, Katie. This has been going on for a very long time. They get tired, man. They get so exhausted, so they call in sick. Then you wind up with even fewer controllers in the tower, and so few that they can't handle the number of flights coming in. And when that happens, they can request the FAA to issue a ground delay. What that means is they'll only allow so many flights in per hour. Now, this creates a domino effect. It's not like it doesn't exactly fix the problem, but the effect is, if you're traveling, is your flight can be delayed an hour, or we've seen it up to 2 hours for some flights. And they will say, instead of whatever the number is, 38 or 30 flights an hour, we're only going to allow 20 flights an hour and it'll last like 12 hours at a time. Or maybe they'll get someone to come in on their off day and then they can lift the ground delay. But now what happens is people, when their flights are delayed, I see a lot of the time they think, oh, it's because of the air traffic controller situation. But no, there's also short staffing all over the place. The third parties that the airport hires to deal with, moving planes around, taxiing planes around, or getting baggage off the planes, that kind of thing. There's all kinds of short staffing situations that just causing these delays.
And this is a nationwide shortage, right? How are Austin staffing numbers compared to others across the country?
We're in the top 10. We're up there like the ninth, percentage-wise, the ninth most short-staffed air traffic control facility in the country. So you can't really help Austin without taking away from another place.
Yeah.
So it's like a zero sum until they get more people. And they have yes, they are hiring more, but when you read the government reports looking into, okay, is this problem being fixed? You see, okay, the FAA loves to say, oh, we're recruiting this many people into the schools and we're hiring this many, but what they don't talk about is all the people leaving because they're stressed out or because they retire. So
and they're working 6 days a week.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not an easy problem to fix.
Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to switch gears just a little bit because I'm curious. When are we arriving at the airport? I'm a 2 hours before girl.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a 2 hours before girl. My partner is not. My sister is not. So when should we be arriving to the airport for these flights?
I would ask Katie. I will tell you, ABIA tells you arrive 2.5 hours before departure for domestic flights, 3 hours for international. The reason they say that is because they don't know if there's going to be 5 TSA officers calling in sick and there's going to be a 45-minute wait.
Right.
Most of the time, you don't need to show up that early. And so people show up, 2 hours. They're like, what are you telling me to arrive this early? I don't need to be here this early. 5 months later, they miss their flight. I am just like you. I don't want to stress. It's a nice airport. You get through security. There's all kinds of stuff to do.
It really is.
What do you do, Katie?
Yeah, it's funny. Look, this is one of those age-old questions that I don't think anybody has the exact answer to because there's so many different factors that can happen on the day that you're traveling. I think it's a topic that got brought up recently that we saw a lot of because of airport theory, that TikTok trend where people would show up 15 minutes before their flight, and I wanted to just scream. No. Just please don't do it. I don't care if you're trying to make a video about it. Don't do it. I have had scenarios where I've made my flight in that amount of time, but I don't want to recommend it. It was horrifying. If you're a part of a trusted traveler program like TSA PreCheck, that can only help in terms of getting through the airport even quicker. But now with TSA not requiring you to take off your shoes, that should help. That should help the airport process, you would hope. But I think when you're traveling in a shoulder season, we're coming into the fall where you're just going to see less people traveling in general. I think you can err on the side of less time in the airport. But I want people to remember, if you're checking a bag, there are minimum check-in times depending upon the airport. It's an hour to 45 minutes. I just would say that's like your absolute cutoff time before your boarding. So add that to whatever boarding time you have, not your flight takeoff time, your boarding time. But that's only a non-peak season. Peak seasons, get to the airport early. Just don't even think about it.
Did you just say shoulder season?
I did, yes. So in travel, we talk about shoulder seasons being these periods of time that it's not quite a peak season. So summer, we're in a peak season right now. And then we're going to have this period of time in between when another peak season happens or a low season happens. So it's not quite one or the other. It's in between. It sits on the shoulder of each. So I'm
glad you asked that, Nikki, because I didn't know either.
Listen, I was thinking, is this the season we show our shoulders? Because
you can.
I was in a completely the wrong place. So I was like, you should probably ask.
Well, it'll still be hot in Austin in shoulder season. So yeah, you definitely could.
Yes.
You definitely could.
So I want to know, what is your best summer travel tip?
All right. Here, I just did this one, actually. Maybe it's not that big of a tip, but drop off at pickup and pick up at drop off. Like, I was picking up my mom, and the departures level, the top level was not busy, but the bottom level was insane. It was like afternoon.
Yeah.
So I told her, just hop on that escalator, grab your bag and hop on the escalator. And I picked her up, and that saves you a lot of time.
Yes, I love this.
One more I got for you. The cell phone parking lot. Great thing that Austin Bergstrom International Airport has done. You know, you drive there and you wait. There's a gas station. There's public restrooms. There's actually a children's playground with like Exxon logos on it, but it's a nice looking children's playground.
Isn't there a Whataburger too?
There's a Whataburger. There's
it's crazy. Yeah.
And you can just sit there and it's fine, but it gets insane when it's busy, and it's really annoying because people are selfish and it's not intuitive necessarily where you're supposed to go. You don't have to park there. You can just go to the Starbucks on Ben White. You know, you can go a little bit further out. There's also, you can go, if you don't want to just park outside a store, there's the family viewing area. I never see people here. You can put it in Google Maps. It'll take you there. You do have to get on 71 and go a little bit out. But I took my son there, and he's like 2 and he loves planes. And you just watch planes take off. You know, there's like a seating area. There's some picnic tables and stuff if you want to get out your car.
Whoa. I'm appalled at the fact that I've never heard of this. When the airport was still in Mueller, my dad used to take me and my sister and like we would sit in essentially the entrance to the Gulf, like illegally, and watch the planes fly over us. It was one of my favorite things as a kid.
That's the one thing about this one. They don't fly over you. That would be really cool.
That's still cool.
But you still get to see them.
Oh, I'm absolutely doing that. Just period on a regular day. Those are great tips. Those are awesome.
It's a great picnic spot.
You are putting us on so much game right now. Do you know how many people are going to take their next date to go watch planes take off? That's amazing. It's so romantic and cute.
Yeah, and I never see anyone there. Almost never.
Wild. What about you, Katie? Wild.
I don't know if I could top these. Those were really good. That's inside baseball, Austin inside baseball tips. In general, I'll give one sort of when things go wrong. I think a lot of people just default to, if you're in the airport and your flight gets significantly delayed or canceled, they run to the customer service desk, the counter, whatever, just to talk to somebody, to sort of like have that in-person interaction, to know that things are, you're going to get rebooked, or what are your options?
Yeah.
What I like to do is I already have a fallback flight in mind for those just in case scenarios. That doesn't mean you have to purchase a flight. And then instead of, I physically get on the customer service line. If I can't self-serve in the app by rebooking myself there, which a lot of times you can nowadays, I will not only give the domestic customer service line, I oftentimes will give the international customer service line first to get through to somebody faster, because, everybody and their brother is probably going to be calling that domestic line as well. Most airlines, especially legacy carriers, the American, Delta, United, they have customer service agents all over the world. And somebody in the UK can go and look in the schedule and see what's available to rebook you on. And you need to act quickly in these scenarios. So that would be my biggest tip, is to see if you can dial an international customer service line to get through faster.
That is a very good tip. Yeah, that's a good tip.
That's when things go wrong. One tip, and it's a general travel tip. Whenever I'm traveling, especially abroad, when, currency conversions can be a little bit pricier and you're trying to save money, but also you want to have an amazing experience. I really love to have my dinner for lunch. And what I mean by that is, I will seek out these nicer restaurants and see if they have a set lunch menu or lunch offering that's going to be a fraction of the price than getting the full dinner. And oftentimes you're not going to find the wait time that you see at dinner at lunch. There is a place in the UK, Quality Chop House, has a £29 lunch set, 3 courses, but it's a well-known steakhouse in London. It is the best deal in town. Nobody talks about it. You get a really lovely experience for lunch, and then you can do something more casual for dinner, and you're saving overall. So you're not missing out on anything. You're just having your dinner for lunch.
Those are solid tips.
I know Austin has good food, so I'm speaking to the foodies out there.
I got a question for Katie.
Yeah.
If I may.
Yeah.
Is Clear worth it? Because I was waiting in the TSA pre-check line, right? And it was super long. And then there was a lady like, yo, I want to go in Clear. But I thought, this isn't going to save me any time. I'm going to be, and I was just wanted to get through. But it got me thinking, like, maybe I should have Clear.
That's a great question.
Yeah, it's I personally.
Well, first of all, what is Clear?
Yeah, it's a private company, so it has nothing to do with sort of the trusted traveler programs like TSA and Global Entry. So it's completely separate. But basically, in a nutshell, it allows you to get ahead of the security line. It's basically just expediting the process, so then you can go through the actual security portion faster. It has these dedicated kiosks, biometric technology, scans your face, yada yada. It can be a heavy price tag, but a lot of credit cards these days are actually offering a credit to be able to get Clear as like an incentive. So they'll give you a credit back for the Clear membership. It's per year, not every 5 years. I believe TSA PreCheck is 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, TSA PreCheck is 5, yeah.
So it's a yearly expense that you'd have to incur. Here's the thing. If you travel a lot and you're traveling through a busy airport during peak times, it can be, yes, a definite time saver. You will be the ultimate traveler if you have both. But if you're not traveling as much and you're not going to a bunch of concerts, Clear actually operates in concert venues as well, then it might not make sense.
Wow.
It's not everywhere, but.
Did not know that.
Didn't know that either. I didn't know that either. And I love that you asked that question, because I have asked myself that question so many times in the airport. Like, what is the difference?
They definitely get you. Yeah. Two different programs, very similar. One is government sponsored basically, and the other is not. Also, if you fly specifically on one airline and you operate out of one specific terminal, make sure that Clear is operating in that terminal. I know this because my sister, she got Clear and then was like, why is it not in this terminal? I was like, Erin, that's not how it works. And you don't travel enough to be able to take advantage of it. So why did you buy this? But it can definitely be beneficial for business travelers, for traveling with family.
Nice.
I'll have to give it some thought then.
Give it some thought.
Maybe next time I'll take that free trial.
Yes. Hey, it's a free trial for a reason. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds kind of awesome. Okay, so how should we be planning for fall, y'all? Like, I'm curious, what will the prices be like then? What is, the airport construction? Like, what is our fall looking like for travel?
Yeah, I think I'm just jumping in terms of like flight prices. I'm not a betting woman, but if I were to bet what the next CPI is going to sort of look like, I would suggest that we're still seeing airfare sort of at these record lows. And continue, fall, again, it's a shoulder season, so we typically see less people travel in general. We just heard guidance from Delta is being sort of readjusted, and you might see some extra flights on the schedule sort of trimmed just because they're not anticipating the demand. Last year, there was sort of this hangover of summer travel demand to places like Europe and elsewhere that airlines really banked on. So many people want to get to Europe, so we're just going to actually extend schedules into early October. This year, not the case. So yeah, airlines are definitely right-sizing to try to fit the demand that's happening. And yeah, I mean, it's one of the best times of the year to travel. So I would heavily, heavily suggest, if you didn't take advantage of summer travel, that fall is really where it's at.
Yeah, and that actually jives with what ABIA is saying, that, we talked about seat capacity. So we talked about how it was up right now, July over July. But they're saying for the fourth quarter, which is mostly the fall, they're expecting a 9% increase in seat capacity. Of course, that could change, but, I'm with Katie. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the airlines overshoot a little bit. And then just in terms of the construction, I mean, it's going to be ongoing. I don't think it's going to be substantially different traveling in the fall versus the summer, except that maybe, less busy, although there are certain times when it can be very busy. And there are some events, like if you look at the top 10 busiest days ever at Austin Bergstrom International Airport, there's a bunch in October. So, just when you book your flight, maybe take a look at the event schedule around town.
So we got ACL is the first half of October, and then F1 starts on October 19th.
Oh, wow. Right in the middle.
And I think it goes through for a couple of weeks. But yeah, so those first 3 weeks in October are likely going to be crazy.
Here are the top 10 busiest days ever. The top 3 are like October 21st, 23rd, 24th, 2022, 2023, 2024. That weekend in October is just insane. It's like over This is insane for Austin, very busy for Austin, over 40,000 departing passengers. So, yeah. Just
Wow.
check the calendar.
Dominating.
Make sure you don't coincide with ACL.
Yeah, it dominates. October dominates.
This is where I would suggest getting to the airport early because the traffic getting to the airport would be insane.
Ridiculous. Well, Katie, Nathan, thank you so much for being here and chatting with me about travel and the airport. I appreciate you taking the time. This was awesome.
Next time, I think we
so
should do it in person because I am in need of queso.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really, it's been a minute since I've been to Austin, so I think I need to get back down there.
Come on down.
Girl, come get this queso. Yes, you need to have the queso.
We can have it in the airport.
Yes!
If they have. I don't know. Is there anywhere with queso in the airport?
I'm pretty sure there is. I remember.
Okay. Yeah. There's got to be.
I'm in.
Before we go, just one more reminder about CityCast Austin Neighbors. It's the absolute best way you can support this show so we can bring you important news and conversations that connect you to your neighbors. If you're able, we'd love for you to join us. You can join right now at membership.citycast.fm. That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Katie's website and Nathan's reporting in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, want to tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.